before we even talk about the plays, man, I can't stand like how bad these referees have been this year. It's like
on all levels.
You have one job, and it's to get it right. You know what I mean? So we'll get into detail here as to what we mean. This would have been a much fresher conversation if we would have done our podcast last week, but because we were sick, we got to bring it up now. But still very relatable, and
because it just happened again with Fred.
Yeah, it's still exactly. It just happened again. That's another one. That's the fifth one on the list that I have. Then Fred VanVleet. I don't know Fred VanVleet's situation, so we can talk about that one at the end. But let's talk about the other four that I have on the list. 2 game winners were hit within 2 days or 3 days of each other.
For sure.
And in both situations, the players very clearly traveled. Right? Now, I believe the Jason Tatum one was a lot easier to miss.
Yeah.
Because he's just in a motion of just jab stepping and just doing too much.
That looked bad. That looked really bad.
I don't think it was terrible. I think it's a call that I think most refs can miss. Now, should you? I'm not saying you should miss any calls, but and out of the 4 that we have, that was the most understandable. Julius Randle, however, traveled the crap out of that ball. Julius Randle had no excuse. One, he had no excuse to have the ball. That ball should have been in Anthony Edwards' hands, but it worked out. So what can I say about that? But that was a atrocious travel, and that's 2. That's 2 game-winning situations. My thing, before I get into the last 2, is everything that happens throughout an NBA season has the ability to impact players and teams in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
That loss by itself could turn out to be the difference between us being a 7 seed and a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Right? And then, boom, we're the 7 seed. We lose 1 game elimination play in tournament games, and boom, we're out the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you would have called the game correctly and given us taken that shot away because they traveled, we would have had an extra win. That would have been the tiebreaker. We would have been, you know what I mean? This is all hypothetical. This is not actually happening. The season just started.
But it probably will happen at some point.
But it can happen. You know what I mean? It definitely can happen. It's like the referees don't realize the impact that they have not only on these teams but on these players. You know what I mean? Like that by itself can be the difference maker in a player's contract or stats, or you know what I mean? Like players get bonuses. You know what I mean? Like what team did Julius Randle hit the game winner on?
Was it the Utah Jazz?
It doesn't fully matter. Let's just use a random team. But the team doesn't actually matter. Let's say it was the Utah Jazz, right? Freaking Utah Jazz is a bad team. Let's say it was the Knicks.
Wait.
This doesn't apply.
Let's give it to the Heat.
Let's say a team with some seating, seating.
Yeah, this wouldn't apply to the Jazz. Let's say the Knicks, for example, right?
It was the Suns, which does
okay,
matter.
perfect. There you go. It was the Suns.
All
right, so let's say the Suns, for example. Let's say Devin Booker's contract. These players have bonuses that they can earn. You know what I mean? The bonus could easily say, if we win 55 games, we'll give you $2 million extra.
That is what they do. That's a very common thing.
Exactly. That's a very common thing.
And when injuries happen, you get screwed over because you lost 1 game earlier in the season.
Exactly. And now you win. Imagine you finish the season with 54 wins. And you're like, God dang it, it's just 1 win. And they're looking at it like, damn, because of that referee and that bad call, we just lost this game. Now I'm not getting that extra $2 million in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like, and like that kind of stuff happens.
A lot of the mid-level people who are in NBA, like middle, that they rely on those type of things.
Yeah,
because that's where they get their money
for like awards, for them making the playoffs, for all that. You know,
but those bonuses tend to be for the higher level players, though. You don't typically see that often.
They don't break it down, but almost every single player gets one for making the playoffs. Almost everyone gets one for winning a certain amount of games and playing.
But you're in the playoffs, is it different amounts, though?
Yeah, everyone has a different amount.
So hold on, when you're in the playoffs, no matter what sport it is, you're gonna get paid extra. It's not like it matters.
But I'm saying you get an incentive for making the playoffs.
Oh yeah. But it's when you're in the playoffs, there's no differential. Everybody's getting the same amount in the playoffs. Like star players get paid as much as like the last guy on the bench in the playoffs. And that's the same thing with football and everything like that. They get paid extra to make the playoffs.
You know what pisses me off about the whole thing, though? And it makes no sense. The NBA instituted the last 2-minute report. For what reason?
Bro, I was just about to get off. That is like, that is the worst shit ever.
I lost the game, and now I know that we didn't actually lose the game because Tatum traveled. What now?
Thank you for letting us know we were right.
Like
what do we do now? And now they have the option to, what's the word? To challenge it, or there's a word for it. Or what are they? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I was about to wall.
No, not challenge the call, but not review. When you complain about something, and what's the word? I forget. They have the option to submit a complaint to the NBA. There's a word for it.
That's
I was
never.
supposed to submit a
They do.
complaint. I
They've
don't know
been
what it's
doing
called.
that though. They've been doing the complaint to the NBA.
Well, that's what I think. They have the option to do that for
I forgot what it's
what?
called. I think you know what you're talking
Because
about.
it doesn't happen. Remember that one time James Harden got that dunk and it went right back in the hoop, and they called it a missed call, and then they asked for a review, and then the refs like didn't give him any fouls for the next month. Like, bro, what is the point of the last 2-minute report if it doesn't actually do anything?
That's what's gonna happen.
It doesn't
with Fred.
help the team. Like, nothing changes. You still lost. The refs still ref as bad as they're reffing. What does it matter?
Well, like at the end of the day, I don't. How do I say this? I don't like that the refs are split apart from the players, and sometimes the refs have their own like unity and they stick up
Yeah,
for each other,
they
whether
do.
it's a shitty person or not, just because it's a ref. And I really don't like that because it's a lot of gang mentality. And I don't mean to say it in like they're going to shoot each other. I'm saying in a way like now it's us versus the players. And now you have this animosity that's going to control how this game goes or what fouls you call for a player when he's being clearly fouled. And I just think that is absolutely absurd. Like as a
Yeah.
fan, I don't want this game's outcome to be because Joey Crawford doesn't like Harden. Like that is the worst experience that you can give anybody. Fairness, I feel like when it comes to sports, is what makes sports.
Bro, it's paramount. Everybody should have a level playing field.
For sure. There should never be someone who is outcasted as a player because they don't like them. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should go into every game unbiased, indifferent to whatever's going on. Just do your job and go home. Simple as that. But a lot of these calls that we have on the list are just like blatant. Just it's just bad reffing. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't even think it has anything to do with personal feelings towards players, because we talk about like the Giannis call. Giannis is on the list twice. The Giannis call with the Hornets.
The foul?
That one first. The Hornets happened first with the foul. What foul are you calling? The man tripped on his own feet. And my problem with it is the perception that it gives is that players were in the way. So because LaMelo fell, you assumed Giannis had to foul him. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
If you did not see it, do not call anything.
Yeah.
You can't just assume because, players were in my way in the angle. I couldn't really tell what was happening. So
That's the
why
worst.
did you blow your whistle? It makes more sense to make a no call than to make a call that you did not see. You know
I
what
think
mean?
people can get over a no call more than they can get over a bad call. Can we agree with that? Like a bad call can stain people for life. Like we've seen.
I think there should be a better
not
process.
just basketball, but like certain sports. There's been calls like the Cowboys Des Bryant drop call. I don't mean to bring up another sport, but I'm just in general like where it's affected the team and also the outcome of the team for years to come. Because now you're kind of messing up the feng shui of how it's supposed to go. When it's a no call, I'll take that every day because you weren't aware of it. You didn't know what was going on.
There's
I
an
can
easier
take that.
process. There's always going to be two refs that have a good perspective on the call every single time. Like no matter what, there's two people that can see it.
Yeah.
If the two of them can't agree, you should review it. I think that's what you should always do. If two of you cannot actually figure out what happened, just review it real quick. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I think the amount of challenges is not realistic either. It's a long game. There's a lot of bad calls being made. You know, these referees should not, or these coaches should not be required to pick and choose. And if the amount doesn't change, then I think a timeout should not be charged to the team if they call a challenge. I think players should be required to go to the opposite side of the bench, right? So you see the Heat bench right here. They should be required to go to the opposite side of the court, away from their coach. Shoot, honestly, even opposite side of the court in the sideline and opposite side baseline. So you're as far as possible from your coach. This is not a timeout. You do not get to review the game. You do not get to game plan. Coaches have to come with us over here, and players have to go to the opposite side. You know what I mean? We're not going to charge you a timeout. We're going to get this right. And I think that is better because for the Bucks, they got screwed because they couldn't challenge. They had a challenge left, but they had no timeouts. So that rule shouldn't be implemented that way.
So if you have a challenge and no timeouts, you can't use your challenge.
You have to
'Cause you
use
have
a
to use a
timeout to challenge. But if you win the challenge, you get your timeout back.
That's some bullshit.
It's like a collateral situation.
But then if you lose the challenge, you
lost your
lose your
challenge and
timeout.
your timeout.
So it's like It's outrageous. It's just weird how it works, and that can be the difference maker. The Bucks are on trying to bounce back. You know what I mean? They were in a solid 2 or 3 game winning streak at that point. That could have been the 4th game. The Bucks could have been undefeated for the last who knows how many games. That was the only game they've lost in the last maybe 6 or 7 games they've played.
Yeah, they've been playing very good basketball now.
I think they're on a 4 or 5 game winning streak.
Despite Doc Rivers.
Yeah, despite Doc Rivers. So that could have been the difference maker. Now, saying all that, they would have eventually lost the game anyway, because if we're talking about getting calls right, on the other end of it, the Bucks are still on the list again with another bad call, which I'm actually proud of myself. I got this myself. I noticed it in the middle of watching a highlight, and I actually caught it before it started trending because I didn't see it as people talking about him being out of bounds. I saw it as me wanting to watch Damian Lillard hit a game winner. So when I'm watching Damian Lillard hit a game winner, it was 2 clips. It was first they had a clip of Giannis getting a block, and then they had a clip of Damian hitting the game winner. So I just want to watch Damian Lillard hit a game winner. I was like, oh, dope. Damian Lillard hit a game winner. Cool. I click it. I watch the block, and as I'm watching the block, it's like something happened. I was like, wait a minute. Something that I just seen just doesn't look right. So I literally screen recorded my phone. I was like, there's no way. He maybe my perception is just wrong. You know what I mean? So I screen recorded it and I started zooming into it. I was like, damn, this mother lover was out of bounds.
I clearly
that's crazy.
The whole back of his ankle.
Yes, his whole half of his entire foot was out of bounds.
Like, refs weren't even looking at it either.
Bro, that's what made me the maddest, bro. That's what made me, bro. I'm gonna. I hope I can remember, man. I'm gonna make a note.
They were all looking forward.
Like, they were waiting for the game winner,
bro. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm gonna pull it up while I talk to y'all.
While you pull it up, do you remember the time that Kevin Durant went out of bounds against the
Bro,
Rockets?
I showed my wife that same video. She was flabbergasted.
She took 7 steps out of bounds, and they touched the ball, and they're like, "That's safe." Have you seen it?
She was flabbergasted. Bro, look at this. Look at the referee, bro. Look at Giannis's foot.
He's looking at something else. There had to be a bad bitch in there. That's how I missed my calls. That's for sure.
Where were they playing at?
This looks like Milwaukee. Yeah.
It's Houston, bro. Meg was there.
Oh, they were playing Houston.
I can tell.
They were in Milwaukee.
He saw a stallion and he was flabbergasted.
There you go.
No, but like for real, it's like it's crazy. It's like, and that's my point. It's bad reffing. Like, it's your job to look at the foot or look at Giannis with the ball. You are the closest referee. Who are you looking at? I assume what he was looking at was the shot clock. That's what I'm assuming, or the game clock. That's what I think he was looking at. It should not be his responsibility to do that. It should not be his responsibility, and I don't believe it is. I don't know how the referee's playbook works. I don't know what their positioning is, because they do have positioning and stuff that they're required to follow. So I do know that part of their job is not easy, but there's no way it was his responsibility to check the game clock. It should have been the referees that were ahead to check the game clock, right? So that's the only thing I can think of. That's what he was looking at. And if he probably wasn't even looking at it for the sake of his job. He probably was just looking at it for the sake of, oh, snap, this game is interesting now. You know what I mean? Like,
he was so close.
He was right. He's like, oh damn, this game is close. I was like,
front row
seats. This whole time, this goddamn person is out of bounds. I was like, bro, like, what are you looking at, man? And yeah, that Kevin Durant thing was crazy. But
the thing is, the Rockets are another team where that might impact them. That
Right.
generally might impact them because they're a team that deals with a lot of injuries all the time. They're a team that's kind of newer. They're kind of figuring out the first step. They've been playing well, but all it takes is Jalen Green regressing the way he is, and the rest of the team go back to normal. And maybe they're like 2 wins away from securing a 6 seed,
or not even a 6 seed, maybe even a play-in, because that's what we had them as a play-in team, regardless.
And now they're stuck because of these terrorists, these refs. The last 2 minute report should have implications. They I don't know if they get bonuses.
Refs should get fined, even if it's behind doors. They should get fined.
They do get fined.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
There should be tally mark. We should get to hear about the fines. That's what the issue is.
I don't actually agree with that. I don't actually agree.
I do.
You gotta keep that
I don't care.
in-house.
I want to know. I don't care what anyone is telling me right now. I want to know that you're losing money for what you're doing wrong.
Can I still offer my opinion though?
Yeah,
I know you don't care.
I do care. I don't care about the refs.
But yeah, no, I do. I like the fact that the NBA does fine them. They've made it clear that they purposefully don't make it public. I do agree with that. I do believe that stuff like that should be kept in house because it would set a bad precedence to know what referees are getting fined, especially if they get fined multiple times. Players are going to use that to their advantage to argue and debate, and I think it messes the game up. I think it's going to create far more debates than there already are. You know what I mean? And flopping, complaining, and all this stuff is at an all-time high as it is. You know.